Hey, just wanted to take a few minutes here and do some stretches with you. So these are my 5 favorite stretches that I like to do every day. No matter where I'm at, no matter what I'm doing, I'll always stop and get at least a few stretches in. I've been known to do these in airports, just different mountain trails that I'm on. These are the best of the best to me. Okay, so first one is downward facing dog. Hands about shoulder distance apart, feet about hip distance apart, and then just lifting the hips up. Finding a nice down dog, at least for a couple of breaths every day. Let's take a couple breaths here together. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Make sure head and neck is relaxed, looking back through those knees. Make sure we're pressing back through the arms. And another breath or so here. Just a nice inversion. Always makes me feel good. All right, if down dog isn't working for you, my favorite modification for this would be puppy pose, knees down, arms stretching out in front of you. You're getting such a nice stretch through the rib cage, arms, for me anyways. Different for everybody a little bit. All right, second favorite stretch I'll come into is a low lunge. So coming in from downward facing dog, I'll bring my left foot up to the outside of my left hand. Now settling in here, generally I'll keep this back knee to the ground. Some days I'll keep it lifted if I'm really wanting to get deep into that hip flexor. But bringing it down to the ground and getting off the wrists is a nice option for me usually. So starting out with blocks, maybe coming to forearms, that might be nice. And then as your flexibility improves, I've been doing this stretch every day for quite a while, I'm finally able to come to forearms and sometimes maybe almost chest. So those are the areas we're going for here. We'll take a couple more breaths. This pose, if I have time, I'll try to stay here for a minute or two, just trying to get that nervous system to relax and getting into the deeper tissues, muscle tissues and fascia. Last breath here for today, unless you're able to stay longer in any of these poses. Just giving you a few ideas here. Coming off that back knee, we'll step back into downward facing dog and transition into second side, bringing our right foot up to the outside of right hand, lowering down that back knee if you want. Coming into this low lunge. And again, I'll kind of show what blocks might look like. You know, a couple of stacked blocks here for your forearms is where I started. And then as your nervous system relaxes and releases, as your flexibility improves, maybe setting those blocks to the side and coming to forearms. Taking a couple breaths here. All right, coming into my third favorite pose that I like to do every day is pigeon. So we'll come back into our downward facing dog from here, bringing your left toes toward your left wrist, your left toes toward right wrist, left knee toward left wrist, and settle down into this kind of backwards number 7 shape. We don't want to have that foot in super close and be on a shin. So we'd love an external rotation, that foot flexed, and then from here working to draw hip down. Great outer hip glute stretch. Inhale, lengthening the spine out, and exhale, folding forward. Maybe. Sometimes I just really notice in some poses, and this is one of them, if I'm able to rest my head, the rest of my body kind of follows in a nice relaxing way. So see if that works for you. I've seen people in class really stacking a lot of blocks up high to be able to rest their head, and it seems to help. Our heads are heavy, so being able to rest, very nice. Okay, take another breath here. Again, if you're just practicing and have more time, I like to stay here for a minute or two as well. Last breath for this practice. Coming out nice and slow, tuck your right toes, lift off that back knee, and then lift back up into your downward facing dog. Take a moment, and then we'll come into the right side, right knee toward right wrist, right toes toward left wrist, settling down. I always have a little nerve thing I have to kind of work through there. There we go. Inhale, lengthen the chest. And exhale, fold using blocks or whatever is best for you. Okay, kind of just noticing and observing what's going on. Taking that moment in your day to just stretch and check in with your body. Just really sets a nice tone for personal care and aging gracefully. Okay, we'll take another breath here. This time exiting the pose a little differently. So setting your blocks to the side, coming to your wrists, will kind of rotate to that right hip, bringing both legs out in front of you. Fourth favorite pose, a nice seated or sometimes standing forward fold. Inhale and exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen that chest, exhale, fold forward. For a long time, I did not like this pose. The next pose I'm gonna do has always been my absolute most favorite. And this pose just felt like pain and misery. But I'm finally making peace with it as I just kind of work on backing off, going nice and slow, and taking it into a daily practice. So sometimes those ones that are your hardest are the ones that maybe you need to practice daily. Taking another breath or two here. Again, staying here longer if your time permits. We'll slowly begin to come out, and my very most favorite pose is a lot of people's very worst one. It's just a wide leg straddle. Inhale, lengthen, and exhale, fold. This one has always been pretty easy for me, but I've noticed in class that it is very not easy for a lot of people. So again, seeing if they have something that they're able to rest their head on can sometimes help. And sometimes people get the blocks out in front of them and they're like, I can't. That's okay. Just rest into this pose, give it a couple breaths. With each exhale, go down just a little bit more. We'd love to see a long, flat back. We'd love to see toes pointed up. And then you can take different variations of this. My favorite is just folding forward. It's just a nice inner thigh groin stretch. But if you're wanting to work like side body, working these different variations of the pose, really nice. Okay. So let's take a couple more breaths. Your favorite version of this pose. Rest, enjoy, stretch, relax. Okay, and there you have it, my 5 favorite poses that I practice every day. Hope you enjoy. Namaste.